Good morning, I'm Chris with Everyman Overland. If you're familiar at all with my channel, if you've watched me in the past, then you've no doubt seen a half a dozen times me out here talking about tire inflation systems and cars driving by. And I guess somehow I got to be the world-renowned expert and everybody turns to me for advice on inflation systems. That's not true. I think I reviewed and built enough of these inflation systems that I kind of know a little bit about what's going on with them. And there's not a whole lot to know, quite frankly. If you're going to be airing up 4 tires on your vehicle and you're going to be using 1 compressor, you need 4 hoses, you need a manifold to kind of connect them together, you need to be able to connect it to the compressor, and you're going to need some tire chucks at the end so that they can go on the tires. And that's really kind of all there is. There isn't a secret sauce and there's no kind of magic to these things. So when you see a lot of these different tire inflation systems on the market and you say, wow, which one's better for me? I think it comes down to kind of your initial feel of the quality of the piece, and then other little things like colors and what kind of tire chucks does it have? Does it have the ones with the little springy thing, or does it have the ones that click on over the valve that way? All these different features, length, that's how you're gonna choose these. And of course, how much one of these things costs, and is it in your budget, and is it something that you want to spend your money on? So we've seen them, right? We're all familiar with inflation systems. We know how they work. We know how they're put together. You yourself could probably put one together at home. If you haven't already, they're a fairly simple thing. So do we need more inflation systems on the market? Probably not. Do we need more reviews of inflation systems? Probably not. So as I stand here today and I'm about to introduce you to the new and revised Gen 2 Pro-Flate system from Traverse Adventure Gear, really kind of what I want to do is not just introduce to you, hey, here's this inflation system, which I do find to be of fantastic quality, it's a great price, all those things. I'll show you in a second. I would also really like to introduce you to the company of Traverse Adventure Gear. You can find them at their website, just like it sounds, traverseadventuregear.com. They have put together a small collection and offer to you products that have kind of been handpicked over the last few years. So it's just a little bit of a backstory. I was sitting at home the other night and I don't know, we were probably watching football or something. I was minding my own business, and the owner of Traverse Adventure Gear actually reached out to me on Instagram. He said, hey, we're kind of one of the newer companies on the market. We are US based, and I've spent the last few years of my life after COVID and everything kind of fell apart in the country, and everyone just like you and me and everyone else watching this, everybody kind of got into this whole overlanding thing, and let's get out into the woods and let's go camping and let's go see all the beautiful things, because we weren't allowed to be inside, right? And as he got into doing this, he was purchasing all products. He got himself a rooftop tent and he got all the things. He kind of felt the same way as the rest of us do, that he wanted to get his hands on all of this great equipment. Oh, I'd like to have an awning, I'd like to have a tent, and I'd like to have inflation system and compressors and all the things, right? But the ones that you can, if you actually have a store in your area, which by the way is pretty rare. I've never actually been to a store that sells specifically all this overlanding equipment. Been to a few places that have little things here and there. But if you're lucky enough to have a store that has something on the shelf, likely it's going to be incredibly expensive. And if you don't want to pay that incredibly expensive price for grabbing something at your local retail outlet, you're going to take a chance on ordering things online. And he did that. And he ordered some stuff online. Some of it came from overseas and some of it he bought from companies here in America. Likely all of that stuff was also made overseas and just shipped in. And he had a lot of trouble, I think, like a lot of us had, finding something that was really good quality, something that he enjoyed and worked well and he felt was built well. And so he kind of bought one of these and he bought one of those, and he decided he wanted to try and make a difference in this arena and also try and feed his family through starting a company offering all of these products, but products that he has kind of hand-tailored and chosen all of the right things over time. So he said about over the last few years, he ordered 5 or 6 or 7 different styles of tents. He ordered a bunch of different awnings. He ordered all these different things so that he could test with his own hands, take it out in the bush and use it and really find out what works well, what doesn't work well, what's got the good quality, what doesn't, and find those products that he enjoyed using, that he felt were valuable, and put together a collection to offer to you guys. But we really had a great conversation, and I really identified a lot with him about wanting to kind of start his own company, do his own thing, reach his own goals. And I respect and commend him and everyone else of you out there who have started your own company and are putting your own skin into the game and chasing that American dream. And I hope that you guys check him out, Traverse Adventure Gear. He's got his own website, traverseadventuregear.com. He's also on the gram. Just look him up, Traverse Adventure Gear. They've got some neat stuff. You should check them out. So now we can get into the real reason why you're here, and that's to check out this new Gen 2 Pro-Flate system from that Traverse Adventure gear. So let's have a look. First off, right as soon as I opened the box, and it was a great box, so he packages all this stuff up himself, ships it out. Did a great job. This thing was all wrapped in paper and whatever inside. Did a great job. It's very difficult to kind of express to you through the camera because you can't touch it, although I could touch the camera with it maybe. But this is a much thicker, much more durable bag than any of the other ones I've seen on the market. I've got a bunch of these inflation systems, and some of the bags have like a little mesh deal down here to kind of let water out, which I thought at first was a great idea. Oh yeah, if it's all muddy and whatever. But let me tell you, if I put a muddy air inflation system into a bag and then throw it in my truck, I don't want all the mud getting into the truck, right? Let's keep it in the bag. This bag it's just thicker, it's better built. It's got this little ribbing on it here where the seam is. It has these D-rings on the front, which I don't even know what you're gonna do with these D-rings, but they're nice and strong and secure. I suppose somehow you could use these two rings to mount the thing somewhere. I'm not sure what I would do with them, but they're there and they're nice and they're strong. The zippers open up quite far down to the bottom, so the whole bag kind of opens up as opposed to just opening up like halfway. That was an improvement that he made from the previous version, from Gen 1. The bag that they had, the zipper only went about halfway down, and this just makes it easier to get it out. And here it is. This is everything that comes in this kit when you get it. Of course, it comes with the main manifold. So this is a fairly high quality piece. The manifold itself, again, we're not getting any kind of rocket science here, but this is a nice high quality manifold. I actually really kind of dig this orange color. I have some other sets that are green. I also like the green color. I like this orange. I kind of like that it stands out. It's not dull or boring. It's a little bit different. I haven't actually seen an orange one like this, but I dig it. So this has the detachable chucks here at the manifold so that you can keep the two hoses separate from each other. And that's really important when you're stowing it away back in the bag and all of this is connected. It's very difficult to get this put back into the bag easily. But if you have the ability to separate these two different hoses, you take them off here, roll them up, it all goes together very easily. It stores a whole lot easier. Other systems on the market also have these disconnectable. Some of them have it so it's permanently attached. This is definitely the better way to go, being able to disconnect it from the manifold. This also has a slide valve that you can see here. So this style valve, from what I've been told from many people, is much more reliable. This is going to last you a lot longer. It works a lot better than like the little handle on the side, just a little ball valve. This is a higher quality unit. It's a better way to go. I also really like that all the fittings have been color coded. Everything is this kind of orange color or black. Even what would be the copper fittings are coated with whatever they're coated with, painted, whatever they've got, and those are black. It's just a neat look. Is that going to make a performance difference? Absolutely not, but it looks neat. I like it. And who doesn't like stuff that looks good, right? So the hoses, again, two individual hoses, one for each side. You've got this small tee-off. This will go to the front tire and you'll run the length of the hose to the back tire. But all of these chucks, all of the air chucks come with these little rubber caps that go on them that you peel these off, right? And then that goes onto the tire valve. And then you secure it by pushing that forward like that. But they all come with this little dust cover, this little rubber dust cover that pops over the top there. These are a really nice addition. It will help keep all the mud and the dirt and the grime out of here. So if you're out on the trail and it's muddy or it's dirty and you take this off the tire and you put it down on the ground, with these, you've got this attached, you can cover that up. That stays nice and clean so that you don't get mud and grime down inside the valve. They'll just foul things up as time comes along. Each of these has the Velcro straps that you can see here that makes it really nice for when you wind these up. You kind of collect that hose so each side is kind of collected unto itself. And just those straps are a nice addition that make everything stay together real easy. They also include this extension hose. And this extension hose is, I don't know, it's about 36 inches long or so. And this would be used for one of two things. Either you want to run just a single tire, you want to just air up one tire, which you could also do with the longer hose and just use one of the ends instead of the other. It would still work just fine, but this is just a little bit easier to wield. It's easier to hold on to. One of the other nice things that this will do for you is you can take this single extension hose and you can just plug it into the gauge, and now you can use the tire gauge all by itself. So you power up the gauge, and you take the lead, you put it on any one of the tires or the spare or your buddy's truck or your motorcycle at home or whatever it is that you want, and you can actually use this manifold strictly as a tire gauge all to itself. And that's kind of a nice addition. And then lastly, they also include a couple of patches and some decals, because who doesn't love patches, right? Okay, so now that we've seen everything that comes in the kit, I'll go ahead and get it deployed onto the truck, show you how to put it all together. We'll see how it works. So when I use one of these, I like to kind of drape the hoses over the front of the bumper here, because we're gonna have the hood open to attach the compressor. So I like to hang this kind of here in front of the truck. It also gives a nice easy spot to hook up the compressor. It's here in the middle. It keeps the gauge visible. It makes everything work real nice. A couple things to note when you use these is when you turn on this digital gauge, it will zero itself out every time you use it. So you wanna be sure when you turn it on that nothing is hooked up to it. Yeah, the hoses are hooked up, but the hoses aren't on the tires yet. You wanna make sure that this valve is open so that there's no stored pressure inside of this manifold, so that when you turn the gauge on, it will go ahead and zero itself out and it will be accurate. So you push that button to turn it on, and there you can see it has zeroed itself out. We're ready to go. Now, before you hook everything up to the tires, make sure you close this valve here so that all the air doesn't escape out there. Even if we're going to be using this to deflate the system instead of inflate the system, you want to start with all the tires at the same pressure, so it's better to just make sure this is closed like that. So as you're hooking up the individual tires, you don't get one tire that deflates more than the rest. Now, let's go get the tires hooked up. So now you can see all 4 tires hooked up. It's reading 27.8. It's cold out this morning. My tire's a little low. I should pay more attention. Okay, so if you're gonna be using one of these systems to deflate the tires, which I typically don't do, I use a valve core remover and I just walk around to each one of the tires and I just drop them one at a time. I find that's quick and easy and extremely cheap. But if you've already got this system in place and you wanna use it to deflate the tires as well as inflate, super easy. Just like it just did, hook it up to all 4 tires, pop the valve open, and let them run. So hopefully you can hear me over the sound of the plane in the sky and all the air coming out of the valve. But you can see we don't have any pressure now indicated in the manifold as the air is still coming out. So you have to close this up once in a while, give it a chance to build up its pressure, find out where they're at. Right now we're at 18.6. I usually air down to about 12 PSI, so we're just gonna keep on going. But make sure you stop it once in a while and check and see where you're at. Now we're at 18.2, see, 0.4 pounds. There you go. And there we are, 12 PSI. You wanna give it a chance to kind of equalize. One tire valve might flow a little bit better than the rest, and so it'll hold a little more air and whatever. So you can actually see we're equalizing quite a bit. So one of my tire valves is a little bit slower than the rest. So you just want to give it a second to kind of equalize like this. You can see it stabilized at, well, now we're at 12.6. So I'll let out a little bit more. And I think I'd say that's about close enough. So now as we go to air this up, all you got to do, hook up the compressor and let it rip. But don't forget to open this valve so that the compressor has access to the system. I've already got the compressor hooked up to the battery up here. It's good and ready to go. So let's open that up, get everything going. All right, so now that we're up to full pressure and we're ready to go, again, just like when airing down, when I air up, I also like to kind of let it sit here and just let the whole system equalize, make sure all 4 tires are at the exact same pressure. Just give it a minute or two, that's really all you need. But now that we've got everything to full pressure, remember to close this valve before disconnecting the compressor, right? You don't want to lose all the air you just put in there and then you got to hook it up again and then you got to run the thing again. You don't want to do that. So just make sure you close that valve, disconnect the compressor, and you're in business. Now, I also like to make sure I open that valve when you go to put it away. We've disconnected the two hoses from the sides. You want to open this up just to make sure it's not retaining any pressure inside the manifold. There you go. Now we're at zero pressure. Make sure you turn that off just so you don't waste your batteries. And you're good. And there it is. Now everything is wound up and stored nicely in this durable bag, all zipped up, ready to go. Everything's in there and protected. And you can leave this in your truck. You can take it in and out of the truck with you. You can put it in your toolbox. You can move it from vehicle to vehicle, and it'll be ready for you anytime you need it. And that is the new Gen 2 Pro-Flate from Traverse Adventure Gear. Thank you so much to the guys at Traverse Adventure Gear for reaching out to me and really kind of introducing themselves. I hope to do a lot of business with them in the future. I hope you guys look them up and check them out. The owner seems like a fantastic guy. He's here in the States. He's actually out in Vegas is where he's located. You know, but he's one of us. He uses this gear. He's very passionate about what he does. And he takes the time to not just bring you the products that he knows that you'll like and he knows are great quality, but after using them for a while, just like he did with the Pro-Flate, he's got a Gen 2 where he made some improvements and some updates and said, well, I didn't really like the way this or this or this worked out. So he even takes the things that he likes, puts in the time, puts in the improvements to make sure that you guys get the affordable products that will last you and that will do exactly what you want them to do. So again, good on him, good on Traverse Adventure Gear. I hope you guys check them out. I'll leave a link below in the description. And I'm sure you want to know how much one of these things costs. At the time that I'm recording this, I want to say this is the first or possibly second one that has actually made it out of the box. As soon as he got them in, he called me up and said, hey, will you test this out for me? Check it out. So they haven't actually hit the website yet as of today. Hopefully they will soon. He'll get the pricing squared away. He was talking to me somewhere around like $180 shipped out, but they got to figure out all the details and make sure everything is just right. So reach out to them. They'll have that accurate pricing for you so that you can get one of these for yourself. I do appreciate you watching. I've got lots of other videos, lots of other products and adventures that we've been on. I'd love it if you would subscribe, check out the rest of the channel. I hope you enjoy all of this, and we'll see you on the next one.